You've been told a very specific story about the relationship between your brain and your body. You were told that the brain is the CEO, sending orders down to the blue-collar muscles that do the heavy lifting. In this old story, the muscles were just tools. But today, I'm here to tell you that this story is completely wrong. Welcome to Dr. Levitas. Modern neuroscience is undergoing a massive revolution. We are discovering that your muscles are not just for movement. They are, in fact, one of your body's most sophisticated endocrine organs. Your muscles are constantly talking back to your brain, and more importantly, they are sending the very signals your brain requires to stay young, sharp, and resilient. Today, we are diving into the heart of this conversation. We are exploring the memory axis and a fascinating, muscle-borne enzyme that might just be the key to the ultimate brain hack. It's time to rethink what your muscles are actually for. Please take a second to like the video and leave a comment. Your engagement is a huge help to the channel. Let's start with our star player. What is Cathepsin B, and how is this fascinating enzyme secreted by your muscles during heavy exercise? For decades, biologists knew about Cathepsin B, but they mostly thought of it as a housekeeping enzyme. Its job was to help break down and recycle old proteins inside your cells. But in 2016, a groundbreaking study published in the journal Cell Metabolism changed the game. Researchers found that when we engage in intense physical activity, specifically heavy resistance and endurance training, our muscles begin to secrete an abundance of Cathepsin B directly into the bloodstream. When it's released from the muscle, it stops being a housekeeper and starts acting as a myokine, a specialized signaling molecule. Think of your muscles like a massive chem factory. When you demand high-output work from them, they pay the rest of your body in these myokines. Cathepsin B is essentially a chemical status report sent from your muscles to the rest of your systems, telling them that the body is being challenged and that it's time to upgrade and repair. Now, here is where it gets truly wild. The brain is the most protected organ in your body. It is shielded by the blood-brain barrier, a highly selective filter that prevents almost everything in your blood from touching your delicate neurons. Most chemicals, toxins, and even many medicines can't get through. So, how does Cathepsin B manage to cross the heavily guarded blood-brain barrier to directly communicate with your neurons? Unlike many other substances, Cathepsin B has what we might call a backstage pass. Because of its specific molecular structure, it is able to be transported across the barrier. This is a deliberate, evolutionary design. Your brain wants to hear from your muscles. A 2023 review of the muscle-brain axis highlighted that once Cathepsin B crosses this barrier, it doesn't just wander around, it heads straight for the areas of the brain responsible for high-level processing and memory. It is a direct, secure line of communication from your quadriceps and your glutes to your prefrontal cortex and your hippocampus. Your muscles are quite literally whispering into the ears of your neurons. So, once the messenger arrives, what is the message? Why does this specific muscle enzyme trigger the growth of brand new brain cells, a process called neurogenesis, in the hippocampus? The hippocampus is the hard drive of your memory. It's where you store names, faces, and the map of your world. For a long time, we thought you were born with all the brain cells you'd ever have. We now know that's not true, but neurogenesis is notoriously difficult to trigger in adults. When Cathepsin B enters the hippocampus, it triggers the expression of BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. We often call BDNF miracle grow for the brain. In the presence of Cathepsin B, your brain begins to manufacture new neurons and, just as importantly, new connections between them. A clinical study in 2024 confirmed that people with higher circulating levels of Cathepsin B after exercise performed significantly better on memory tests. You aren't just maintaining your brain when you work out. You are literally growing a larger, more dense, and more capable memory center. Your muscles are the gardeners of your mind. It isn't just about general memory, though. There is a specific type of intelligence that benefits from the memory axis. How does lifting heavy weights physically improve your spatial memory and your ability to learn new, complex skills? Think about what happens when you lift a heavy barbell or a kettlebell. Your brain has to solve an incredibly complex physics problem in real time. It has to coordinate hundreds of muscles, balance your center of gravity, and manage a massive amount of sensory feedback. This is a spatial task. When you combine this intense neurological demand with the flood of Cathepsin B, you create the perfect environment for learning. Research from 2024 has shown that resistance training, especially movements that require high levels of coordination, primes the brain to learn other non-physical skills. This is why many people find that their most productive hours of study or creative work happen right after a session at the gym. You've just cleared the cobwebs and laid down a fresh layer of neural track that allows information to flow faster and more accurately. As we look toward the future, the memory axis becomes our most powerful tool for aging. Why is total muscle mass one of the strongest statistical predictors of cognitive preservation in extreme old age? In the medical world, we are seeing a terrifying rise in dementia and cognitive decline. But there is a ray of hope in the data. When we look at 80 and 90-year-olds who remain sharp as a tack, they almost always share one physical trait: they have preserved their skeletal muscle mass. A massive 2025 longitudinal study concluded that lean muscle mass is a more accurate predictor of brain health than almost any other biomarker. Why? Because the more muscle you have, the more Cathepsin B and other myokines you can produce. Your muscle is your cognitive reserve. Every pound of healthy muscle you maintain acts as a biological insurance policy for your mind. It ensures a steady stream of miracle growth for your brain, protecting you from the shrinkage that typically defines the aging mind. In a very real sense, your muscles are keeping the lights on in your brain as the years go by. This leads to a practical question: should you be running or lifting? Does aerobic endurance exercise release different brain-boosting chemicals than heavy resistance training? The answer is that your brain loves a varied cocktail. Aerobic exercise, like running or swimming, is famous for releasing a myokine called irisin, which is incredible for mood and metabolic health. However, Cathepsin B appears to be uniquely sensitive to intensity and load. While you get some Cathepsin B from a long walk, you get a surge of it when you ask your muscles to generate maximum force. A 2024 study in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research suggested that the most brain-protective protocol is a hybrid approach. You want the irisin from your cardio to clear the inflammation, and you want the Cathepsin B from your lifting to trigger the neurogenesis. By combining both, you aren't just a meathead or a cardio junkie. You are a neuro-optimizer, using the full spectrum of your body's chemical language to stay sharp. We have to ask the why behind all of this. How does the muscle memory axis definitively prove that your brain relies on your muscles to survive? From an evolutionary perspective, this makes perfect sense. For 99% of human history, if you were moving your muscles intensely, it meant you were either hunting something or being hunted by something. In both scenarios, you needed your brain to be at its absolute peak performance. You needed to remember where the watering hole was, you needed to solve the problem of the hunt, and you needed to navigate complex terrain. Your brain evolved to turn on its repair and growth mechanism specifically when the body was in motion. We were never designed to think in a vacuum, we were designed to think on the move. The muscle memory axis is the definitive proof that we are an integrated system. When we stop moving, the brain assumes the hunt is over, the danger has passed, and it begins to power down and prune away its expensive neural tissue. By lifting, moving, and challenging your muscles, you are sending a signal to your brain that says, we are still here, we are still fighting, and we still need to be sharp. Here is the doctor's verdict: experience neurological love. I know that for many of you, the gym can feel like a chore. It can feel like something you do just to look a certain way or to hit a certain number on the scale. But I want you to change your perspective. I want you to realize that every time you pick up a weight, every time you push through that final rep, and every time you feel your muscles burn, you're performing an act of neurological love. You aren't just building a bicep, you're building a hippocampus. You aren't just strengthening your back, you're shielding your future self from the fog of decline. Your muscles are your most loyal allies. They are the messengers of your vitality. Respect them, fuel them, and most importantly, use them. Your brain is waiting for the signal. It's time to pick up the phone. I want to hear from you. Have you felt that post-lift mental clarity? How has movement changed your mind? Let's start the conversation in the comments below. Stay sharp, stay resilient, and I'll see you in the next one. Watch this video suggestion, it was especially picked for you. Please share, comment, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Thank you, it helps a ton with the algorithm. Remain tuned for future videos and keep growing.